Dave from New Jersey. It's the SNL Nerds, the show where two comics from New Jersey nerd out about Saturday Night Live. I'm your co-host, John Trumbull.
And I'm your co-host, Darren Patterson.
How you doing, Darren?
I'm doing good, sir. Happy holidays to you and yours.
Happy holidays, sir.
Yeah.
Did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah. Spent it in with the wife, and called all our friends. We did a thing where we actually called our friends and talked to them. Just because we figure in this whole world now, everybody just texts happy birthday and tweets happy or Merry Christmas, and we were like, let's go old school. Let's actually talk to people we know and love.
Radical.
I know, right? And I could tell some people were kind of caught off guard by it. They're like, "What? Oh, that means so much. Thank you. You called me." That it's weird how something like that speaks volumes nowadays.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. So you had some nice conversations, it sounds like.
Yeah, called some friends, called some families, said thanks for some gifts, opened up some lovely, gifts we got, and just stayed in, watched movies, drank a lovely wine or two.
A wine?
A wine, maybe some coquito. And it was quiet and intimate and quite lovely.
All right.
What about you? What'd you get up to?
I mean, it was just kind of a quiet, low-key day. I don't have any family in the area. I had the day off of work, so just kind of hung out at home. Had a lazy day at home, which was fine. It was much needed.
Oh,
so, that was all right. Low-key kind of Christmas, which is what I was expecting, but that's fine.
Yeah, I imagine for me, it'll be this low-key Christmas will be also a low-key New Year's when that rolls around.
I'm thinking so. I'm thinking so.
I don't see my Christmas and my New Year's looking any different with all this pandemic brouhaha.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're going to clean this all up by New Year's.
You don't think so?
No, it's just a hunch.
But we got the vaccine and everything, and it's a hoax anyway. So we'll square this all away before the ball drops.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you to my co-host Marco Rubio.
Wow. We get political. We do.
We get political. But this week SNL still off. They had a new episode last week. They had Kristen Wiig come back to the show and host to promote what we're going to cover on the show this week: Wonder Woman 1984 with Kristen Wiig as the Cheetah, or as Barbara Minerva in the movie.
Yeah, Gal Gadot or Gal Gadot, however you pronounce it.
Gadot.
Is it Gadot?
It's Gadot. Yes.
I thought it was Godot for the longest.
Yeah, it seems like it should be pronounced Godot, but it is Gadot. And actually, I just read on the IMDb trivia that at one point a character is reading the book or the play "Waiting for Godot" as sort of a pun, a play on her often mispronounced last name. But it's Gadot.
I did not know that. I guess that's... Yeah, I guess people are familiar with Waiting for Godot, so they just figure, that's how you pronounce it, Godot.
Yeah, I think that's the expectation. But no, apparently it's Gadot. I don't know if that's the more typical Israeli pronunciation or what, but...
Wow, this is how we learn. Yeah. So, we're covering this... Right, so we're covering this movie because Kristen Wiig, SNL cast member, is in it. And,
yes.
I think when it was first announced, it was very interesting casting. Because, whenever they cast somebody who's primarily known for comedy in either a drama or, in this case, an action superhero movie, people tend to be a little apprehensive or raise an eyebrow. I think we all remember.
Don't know what you're going to get. I mean, I remember back in 1988 when it was first announced that Michael Keaton was going to play Batman. And Michael Keaton at that point was primarily known for comedic roles like Mr. Mom and Beetlejuice and all that. And people were like, oh, this means it's going to be this big camp fest like the old Adam West show, which was every Batman fan's worst nightmare. And now people are like, oh, well, Michael Keaton, he's the definitive Batman. He's the guy. So, I mean, you never know. It really just comes down to the script and how they decide to treat it,
Exactly. You could get Michael Keaton in Batman, or you could get Seth Rogen in The Green Hornet. You never know what you're going to get.
Yes, that is another example.
It could go...
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, sometimes they lean into the humor, sometimes they do not. They're playing against type. So, in this one, I guess it was a bit of a mix.
It was because I mean,
Bit of a
Chris,
mix.
bit of a mix. We'll say that.
Bit of a mix.
Yeah, because I mean, Kristen Wiig has done some dramas, before this movie came out. Like, there's
Yes.
that movie. There's that movie people have been saying we should review, the Skeleton Twins, which I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, that's a movie she did with Bill Hader. I know
Yeah.
they play siblings, and I know they sing along to they lip sync to "Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now," and that's about the extent of my knowledge of it.
It's pretty indie. Like I didn't see the whole thing. I did see a little of it. I'll just say there is like a suicide attempt in like the first 5 minutes of the movie. And it's like, wow.
All right, so feel good holiday fun.
Yes, for bring the kids. Then she's been in other dramas. Like she was in The Martian. She was in that movie Mother with Darren Aronofsky, which I haven't seen, but I heard it's pretty polarizing. So like she's done a good amount of drama to show she
Yeah,
might have some range. So when she got announced for this, it wasn't too out of left field that she would like do like a action movie or a drama or something.
yeah, and I think it's fair to say we were both looking forward to this sequel because we saw the first movie. Like a bunch of us saw the first movie when it came out a few years ago, and we all enjoyed it. I remember us going out to dinner afterwards, and everybody in our group seemed to like the movie.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, well, that's something else we could bring up too. That this movie is coming out in the theaters, but it's also on HBO Max, and it came out the same day, Christmas Day. And it's this thing that Warner Brothers is doing. They announced a couple of weeks ago how now after this came out, like all their movies in 2021 are going to be in the theaters and on HBO Max because of the pandemic. And yeah, when that came out, like a lot of like that caused a firestorm of worry and anger and fret in the Hollywood universe.
People have opinions about this. It seems
Strong opinions. People are saying, "Oh,
like
this,
Christopher Nolan, not a fan.
yeah, he doesn't like it." Like Judd Apatow said some pretty incendiary things about it. Like,
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
like apparently, partly the reason that the directors are PO'd about this is because this was done without consulting them at all. Like all the directors are just like, "Oh, hey, so you're just suddenly releasing our movies on a streaming service without even talking to us first. That's not cool."
yeah, I mean, I guess in Warner Brothers' eyes, they're like, "Well, it's our movie. We paid for it. We own it, so we'll do whatever we want with it." Which, I mean, that's true, but at the same time, it's not. It's not really. It's not a good look. I mean, I know James Gunn
Yeah,
isn't happy about it. A lot of people aren't. They have a lot of
that's
opinions
right.
about it.
Because James Gunn did another movie in the DC cinematic universe, the Suicide Squad, which Pete Davidson's one of the stars on that. So we may be covering that when that comes out. I forget what the release date of that is, but
I believe it's the next summer. I believe.
okay, so that's a ways off. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be out. It'll definitely be out. Like, I mean, maybe it's not. I think it's coming out next summer, but it'll definitely be out next year sometime.
I mean, I honestly have not been keeping track of movie release dates because they've just been changing so much. This movie alone had 7 different release dates. It was originally going to be December 20th, 2019. Then it was moved up to November 8th, 2019. Then it they moved it to November so it wouldn't go up against Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Then they moved it to because the James Bond film was going to open close to it, and then they pushed it back 7 months to June 5th, 2020, and then in March they changed it to August 14th, 2020, due to COVID concerns. It was moved again to October 2nd in June, when they shifted their entire release of upcoming films. And then in September 2020, it was pushed once more to December 25th, 2020. So, this has been a long awaited movie.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of movies got moved around because of the COVID. We still haven't seen Black Widow. We still haven't. Eternals was supposed to come out this year. Like everything just got
the latest James Bond movie, No Time to Die. It has still not seen a release.
yeah.
And we've been waiting for that since like March.
Yeah, that was supposed to come out like a week. I think like a week or two after we did our last episode in the studio.
Yeah, because Daniel Craig hosted the show and he was there to promote No Time to Die. And I believe that was the first movie where the release was delayed because of COVID.
Yeah, like this thing really just put a just gummed up the works. Just put a monkey wrench in everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so now they put out this news, Warner Brothers, that they're going to put all the movies out on HBO Max and in the theaters at the same time, including like the next Matrix movies, the Suicide Squad, like a lot of big movies that were supposed, like the big tentpole blockbuster movies are going to be on TV at the same time. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is like the death of the theaters. Like, how will the theaters survive after this?" And I mean, I kind of see that point too, because like whenever there's like a new way for us to like take in and consume media, like a new more convenient way is presented to us, like the old way kind of dies out and that new way becomes just like the new thing. Like like when video game consoles got bigger and better, people stopped going to arcades, and like arcades
Mhm.
kind of died out. Like when Napster and iTunes came out and people were like, "Oh, I could just download music onto my phone with a press of a button, I'll do that." And then people stopped going to record stores. And then what's the other one? Like when people decided to buy books on Amazon, people were like, "Oh, I could just buy a book on my computer and not go to a bookstore. I'll do that." And the bookstores started to die out. So I think people are kind of freaking out a little bit now that we're able to get these big movies on our TVs, and then everybody has like big flat screen, you know, movie quality flat screens now, so they don't have to go to the movies. So now people see this as a way of movie theaters kind of dying out. Which I mean, I can definitely see that happening.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, people are always going to choose convenience over most anything else, and streaming can be very convenient. But I think with movies, I think there's really something to be said for the communal experience of people gathering together and watching a movie together. I mean, there's nothing like that when you're in a theater and then you're all experiencing it at the same time. That just isn't matched by just sitting on your couch at home watching it, or watching it on your computer screen, or God forbid, watching a movie on your phone.
No, I agree. Like I mean, to this day, like I think about it, like when we went to see Infinity Wars and Endgame, those are
Mhm.
probably the two like best cinematic experience I've ever had in my life. I mean,
Yeah.
we were all sharing this sort of one moment and watching this this epic movie. I know the word epic is thrown around a lot, but like Infinity Wars and Endgame were truly epic movies.
Hmm.
We were all kind of going on this roller coaster ride of emotions through this amazing movie, and that's something you really can't duplicate. While you're at home in your underwear, watching it by yourself in your flat screen. I mean, maybe
You have to be in a movie theater in your underwear to duplicate that feeling.
exactly. See, you get it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that is why we are no longer welcome at that particular movie theater.
Yeah, people. I don't. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why my BVDs cover everything nicely. I was dressed.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know
I
why.
mean, technically, you were dressed. That is what we told the arresting officer. But
Yes. It just says no shirts, no shoes, no service. It doesn't say anything
yeah,
about pants.
let's
So
let's not relitigate this whole
yeah,
thing, though.
yeah. You know what I'm?
Um,
Yeah, my lawyer told me not to go back into
exactly.
this
I
for a
mean,
long
we
time.
have to abide by the terms of the settlement.
Exactly.
Uh, but
Um, but yeah. Like I mean, I do. I mean, I don't know if movie theaters will totally go away because but I do think there might be a chance that it'll kind of be more of a niche thing. Like in the same way that record stores and bookstores aren't totally gone away. They're like independent record stores and bookstores around, but now they're just sort of catered to their audience of people who love books and who love records and vinyl and stuff. So
mhm.
maybe I mean if this whole watching movie thing takes off and is profitable to the studios, I think it might be a thing where movie theaters maybe become more of a niche thing and just are like strictly for pure cinephiles, while the regular Joe will just download a movie at home and watch it and like live tweet
Yeah.
about it.
I mean, my gut feeling is that movie theaters will survive, or movie theaters will come back. But I think people are perhaps going to be more selective about what they go out to the movie theater to see. Like, I mean, as it was even before the pandemic, I would only go out to the theater and do the expense of getting a ticket and all that if it was something that where seeing it on the big screen really added to the experience. Something like Infinity War or Endgame, just to pull two ready-made examples. And yeah, so
Yeah. I see that. I mean, I've heard also people talk about how they say that's true. Like they'll go to the theater to see like a big tentpole movie, like a big blockbuster
Mhm.
action thing. But then what about all the smaller movies, like the movies that are more dialogue driven and are quieter and that are really good, but they don't have that kind of flashy thing to them like the big blockbuster dudes. I mean, they'll probably go straight to like Amazon Prime or Netflix for people to watch. Like I don't know if
Yeah,
people
but
will
I mean,
go out to those.
truthfully, I feel like those are the types of movies that can work just as well on the television screen as they do on the theater screen. I don't think that they have to be on a movie screen to you know to you get the same experience.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I can see
Yeah.
that. All right. Wow.
So anyway, we ended up both watching this at home. We both. You had the HBO Max already. I signed up for it for this, so we could watch Wonder Woman 84 at home.
Right. And we're going to try to keep the spoilers to a minimum, and we're not going to go beat by beat over what happens in the movie like we normally do. We're just kind of going to give like an overall arching our thoughts on it, right?
Yeah, we might get more spoiler heavy later in the show, but we'll give you a fair warning on that.
Right.
So, do we want to go with like overall impressions?
Yeah. Let's go with that.
All right, overall impressions. What did you think of this film, Darren Patterson?
Overall, I thought it was all right. Um, overall, let me see if I'm gonna see if I can say this because like I have noticed like after watching the movie and I went online to see what everybody else thought about it, and a lot of people are kind of trashing it. Like a lot of people,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. People do not seem to be responding well to this. I like on. We're recording this on Sunday, and so the movie dropped on Friday, on Christmas Day, and like starting Friday, I was seeing a lot of people on my Facebook and Twitter feeds ripping apart Wonder Woman 84, and I was like, oh, whoa, okay, this is unexpected. Maybe this movie's not so hot. So
yeah. But then again, also people can be kind of overly critical of movies, especially with DC, Marvel, Star Wars stuff. They can be like,
mhm.
this is the worst movie ever. Like, and like after watching a second time, I will admit this movie does have some faults. It's not a perfect movie. I think it's not as good as the first Wonder Woman movie. I'll say, it's it it's only 10 minutes longer than the first Wonder Woman movie, but it still feels a little longer than it should be. 'Cause
Yes,
this movie's 2.5 hours, which is
2 hours 31 minutes. Yeah,
right. It's a
way too long.
yeah, yeah. All right, I'll say that it is too
It's just
long.
way too long. It should have been edited a lot tighter. It sounds like you like this movie more than I did. I wasn't too fond of it, honestly.
I mean, I thought this movie was okay. I mean, for as far as the DC movies go, I mean, we people have joked about it that like DC movies aren't to the caliber of Marvel movies, although some come close. I'll say like Shazam, I enjoyed the first Wonder Woman. I enjoyed.
Mhm.
Some of the other DC movies are as far as, but yeah, some of the other DC movies are not the best, but are enjoyable ish. Okay, and I think I'm trying to be as diplomatic as I can. And
You're qualifying so much. I love it.
yeah, I mean, but as far as a DC movie goes, yeah, this Wonder Woman 84 kind of is par for the course. I'll say it's not great. It's not like the worst thing I've seen, but it's just like it's okay. But like I do acknowledge there are faults with it. There's like a lot of stuff they could have done to make it better. Um, it's like for me, this movie was just kind of middle of the road. It wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't think it deserved the thrashing it's getting online, but I understand people's issues with it.
It's got some problems. It's got some problems, and and I say this as somebody who really liked the first Wonder Woman movie, and I liked it even though they made a fair amount of changes from the comics. Like Wonder Woman, the character, she originated in World War II. I think she first appeared in like 1941, if I'm remembering correctly. So she had that sort of patriotism baked into her. But I think when it came time to make the movie, they thought about it and they were like, oh, well, if we put this in World War II and she's like this semi-patriotic character with the stars and stripes, everybody's just going to think we're ripping off the Captain America movie. So they decided to back her up into World War One, which I thought was a really interesting choice because you have the whole World War One background, you have the women's suffrage movement happening in the background of that. So I thought it was a really interesting time period to put Wonder Woman into. And in this one, they decided to go forward in time to 1984, where the Wonder Woman character, she's still like sort of in hiding. And I thought that was a choice that didn't really serve the movie well, because throughout the movie, whenever she does like some super feat or something, she's not really seen publicly. And whenever she saves somebody, she has to go like, "Oh, shh, don't tell anybody. This is our little secret."
Yeah, that is the thing I've noticed. Well, I mean, one of the first scenes, the opening scenes, there's this big heist that happens in this jewelry store in a mall, and then she goes to stop the heist. They did try to make it as very 80s as possible, which is another thing I noticed, where a lot of shoulder pads, a lot of rolled up sleeves, a lot of members only jackets,
a lot of t-shirts with blazers, and a lot of big hair. And I don't know. I don't know if this movie really needed to be set in the 80s.
Yeah, I was wondering why they did that. I mean, well, maybe we'll get into it later. There is that whole thing with Russia and the oil, and I mean that's the only reason I can think of why they put it in the 80s.
I guess. I don't know. Like towards the end in my notes, I just wrote, is there any really reason that they set this movie in the 80s other than just to make some obvious jokes about like, oh, weren't the 80s goofy? And as saying this as somebody who lived through the 1980s, no, they weren't that goofy.
I mean,
it's that movie, it's that parody movie 80s that you always see. And it's like, not everyone dressed like that. Most people dressed fairly normally.
Yeah, they do that a lot. When they set a movie in a certain time, where like if it's in the 70s, like everybody has bell bottoms and afros, and like they go over the top
feathered hair, and it's like, well, no, not everybody has the most extreme styles in a decade. I mean, I remember seeing a behind the scenes picture of the Monkees from like the 1960s, and it's them with the crew of their TV show, and you see like the younger people with like long hair, and they're wearing more hippie-ish clothing, but most of the guys have like buzz cuts and horn rimmed glasses, and they're wearing suits and ties. They look like they come from like a 1950s industrial film. And it's like, yeah, that's like people carry styles from previous decades into the other decades, and not everybody goes for the most extreme fashions in every thing,
I think it's because maybe just people just remember the most extreme fashions when they think of like, past decades and whatnot. So that's the stuff that gets put in to the movies when they make a movie or a TV show that references in another decade.
Right.
They just remember
they always do that thing too, where they just like jumble all the styles of a decade into one thing. It's like, I'm not sure if anybody was wearing members only jackets by 1984. I remember those coming out in like 85, 86, around there.
Yeah, I think that they do that too, where it's just like, it's all the 80s. So members only.
Like, I don't know if the shoulder pads were really coming in yet by 84, because like you always have kind of the vestiges of the last decade style too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if you look at stuff from 84, shoulder pads weren't really a thing until like maybe 88, 89 or 86.
Yeah, I feel like that was like the last half of the 80s. But everybody does that sort of wedding singer type of thing where it's like every 1980s style all at once, and you weren't seeing like people walking the streets in like flock of seagulls haircuts, is what I'm saying.
No, absolutely. And actually that's another thing too, where they made it like very 80s and as far as fashion goes, but this movie doesn't have a lot of 80s songs in it, which is another thing they always do, where they put in like they make the soundtrack very 80s and stuff. That's actually something my sister tweeted us. She said like how there weren't really too many 80s songs in this.
Yeah.
Really.
So
but I mean that's just a small gripe I had with it.
So like, at the beginning, like you said, there's a scene where Wonder Woman stops this robbery. Well, she doesn't really stop the robbery. She kind of deals with the aftermath of the robbery.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like these guys, they hold up. You said it was a jewelry store, but it's like they have all these antiques in the back, and I was like, this is a shopping mall. Why are there antiquities in the back of the store in a mall.
I think. Well, actually, I think because they explained a little bit more in the film further on, where they said the jewelry store was a front for like this black market antiques thing in the back. So
Oh, okay. I think I missed that. I was just like, who sells antiques in a mall?
I don't know, somebody.
I don't know. It was weird. It was a
Right.
weird thing. I thought.
I hear you. So then we learn more about Diana, like what she's been up to. She works at the Smithsonian.
Right.
She's been staying the same age as all the people that she knew back in the first movie. Got older and passed away. Like they showed
Yeah.
her, and
Yeah. You see a picture of her with Etta Candy from the first movie, and she's like an older lady.
right,
And I guess Wonder Woman has to, presumably she has to like move to a new place every few years so people don't notice that she's not aging.
yeah, people, yeah. That's another question I had for you. So, is that a thing from the comics where Wonder Woman just doesn't age, and is that because her type of her the Amazonians age slower, or is it she not aging because she left the island, and like so when she goes back to the island, she'll go back to aging? Do you know anything about that?
In the comics, they played it a few different ways. In some versions, she is like, yeah, basically immortal and doesn't age through the years. In some versions, like the Amazons on the island of Themyscira on Paradise Island, they do not age. They've been the same since like ancient Greek times. And in some versions, she like gives up her immortality to go to the man's world and fight crime or fight in World War II or whatever it is. And in some, in most versions, she's like the first child who's born on Paradise Island in like literally thousands of years. So, yeah, they played it both ways, and I think people are very used to that idea. I mean, one, because it was presented to us in the previous DC movies,
Right.
and two, also because they did it on the old Wonder Woman series with Linda Carter, where the first season of that she's in World War II. And then it was canceled by, I think it was ABC, and then it goes to CBS. And CBS decided, okay, we want to do this present day and have it take place in the 70s so that she can run around defeating guys in turtlenecks in Los Angeles. And
Far out.
so they just updated it, and now it was taking place in the present day. And suddenly Lyle Wagner's playing his own son. He's playing Steve Trevor Jr.
Wow, that's trippy.
Yeah, yeah. Steve Trevor had a son that looked exactly like him, and then Wonder Woman is. I don't think she got as romantic with him. I can't remember. I'd have to rewatch some of that show.
Okay. But yeah, I was just wondering that because she was a kid at some point. Like in the opening, they have her going through this like American Ninja Warrior style tournament, and like,
yeah. That was a neat opening scene where we see like young Diana, where she's just a child and she's competing against all these adult Amazons, which that already seems like a skewed competition, doesn't it?
it does. Yeah, you'd think, oh, maybe we shouldn't put this kid in with the adults, but I don't know.
But
Whatever.
you can't really have a kid division when she's the only kid on the island.
That's true.
But it's still weird. It's like, okay, well, how is like a foot race between them at all fair when you don't have the same stride as all the adult Amazons who've been training for hundreds or thousands of years? They don't really get into like how quickly or how slowly she ages.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's what that just kind of threw me off. Also, in the opening, we see Robin Wright Penn and her Hippolyta again. So they get
yeah. And Connie Nielsen.
Yes.
And this was a problem I had in the first movie too. Connie Nielsen and Robin Wright Penn, or Robin Wright. I think she's just Robin Wright again.
Right.
They look too much alike. It's cutting back and forth between the two of them, and each time I have a second where I just go, wait, which one is this again? Am I looking at Paula or am I looking at Antiope?
Got it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can see
I feel like they should have. I mean, they're both good. But they just look so much alike. It's always momentarily confusing.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, well, they are sisters, so I guess there's that.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. All right. So we learned that Diana's worked at the Smithsonian, and then they introduce Kristen Wiig's character, who's kind of in standard nerd face. She's like she's like her hair's a mess. She wears glasses. She's awkward, and people don't look at her. She drops papers. all the tropes that they
How
have
could
in it.
anyone ever want to treat her like a human being? She wears glasses if her hair's a little messy.
Doesn't she know how to use a comb? Get out of here, nerd.
Like at one point early on, she's rushing into work because she's like, harried woman with a job, and she drops her briefcase and papers spill out all over, and nobody stops to help her except Diana.
Yeah.
And like people, like she says hi to people who are walking by her, and they just like look at her like, ugh.
Yeah, I was like, are we still doing this?
Yeah, it was so weird. It was like, this was hackneyed actually in 1984.
It really was. Like I remember, I saw on Twitter somebody put up some like a string of tweets of like are we still doing this thing where, and then they showed Uma Thurman's character before he became Poison Ivy in that Batman movie, like did the same thing.
Yeah.
She's like like a sweaty nerd with glasses and messed up hair. Jim Carrey before he turned into the Riddler. Guy Pearce before he turned into the guy in Iron Man 3, and Jamie Foxx's character before he turned to Mr. Freeze. It's all the same thing. It's all like they wear glasses, they're awkward, and like no one takes them seriously, and then they turn into like a badass. And it's like
and they tend to do this in a lot of the comic book movies. I don't know why. I don't know.
As a nerd who wears glasses, I'm very offended by this.
Yes. I mean,
we are not a monolith, people.
Exactly.
My costume is not your culture.
Yeah, but it's a weird thing. But so like Barbara Minerva, Kristen Wiig's character, and Diana, they kind of hit it off because Diana is the only person who like treats her halfway decent.
Yeah, she's like, oh, let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you. Let me remember your name from one time to that. Like a woman comes by and she's like, hey, do you know who Barbara Minerva is? And Kristen Wiig goes, you literally interviewed me for this job. You hired me last week.
Oh, and it's like, oh yeah, hey, all right.
And it's like, really?
Yeah. It's all the tropes of, being a nerd, I guess, in this one.
Yeah. So that's, we're not getting off to a great start here, I think.
Yeah. So then they find, this thing gets brought in from the FBI, that was involved in the heist that was in the mall. This, thing that they kind of call like a wish stone.
Yeah.
Because they want to examine it and stuff. And it's basically, it's supposed to be like, if you wish on it, like your wish comes true, which I don't know. When they introduced this part of it, I was like, I don't know. That seemed, I don't know why it seems cheesy. It seemed cheesy to me, but it seemed kind of like,
yeah. Right? Because it was cheesy, I think.
Okay, all right, good.
This was like the central thing we're basing the movie around. Like they bring this in there. The rationale is that Barbara and she deals with a lot of antiques, so the police is like cataloging all this stuff. I guess because that was a shady operation, it was stolen from. They didn't have documentation on all this, or something. I don't know. It's vague.
Right.
It's vague, or I wasn't listening closely. One of those two, or maybe both. I don't know.
Yeah, it was definitely like, yeah. So when they basically introduced this wish stone, which I don't know, it seemed like Aladdin's lamp to me, where it's like, oh, and this wish stone is like like you said, like the basis around what's going to happen throughout the movie. And I don't know why I thought it was kind of a cheesy thing, like making wishes is like, that would be the basis of the rest of the movie. But then I thought, well, if I'm able to suspend disbelief around like a lasso of truth, I can suspend disbelief, I guess, around a wish rock. But I don't know, something.
There's a whole lot of people just going like, I wish this thing happened. And then someone literally goes, your wish is granted. And it gets old very quickly.
Yeah. Actually, that's another thing. So is this from the comics, this whole wish stone thing?
Well, apparently, I did a little reading after this. I wasn't thinking this was connected with the comics, but apparently it is. Like, there is a wish stone thing in the series of Sandman that Neil Gaiman wrote. But the origins are a little different. It was created by one of the Endless, who are like the sort of the immortals in that thing. But here it was created by like one of the Greek gods, because you got to connect it with Wonder Woman. So yeah, there is a comics connection apparently. Okay. And we have another person in here who's like sort of the other big bad, or probably the big bad of this movie. We have Maxwell Lord, who's played by Pedro Pascal.
Right. You might know him, of course, from The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. He's been in Game of Thrones, Narcos, which is a movie. I mean, TV show I got to watch because I heard a lot of people love Narcos. But yeah, he's kind of on the come up now. He's been in this. He's in the a new Netflix movie, We Can Be Heroes, and Mandalorian. So he's having a moment right now.
He's having a moment. His career's in a good place. So you can see why he and you can also see why Kristen Wiig said yes to this movie. It seemed like a safe bet. It seemed like a good bet. It seemed like a good career move, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on Pedro Pascal and how he kind of plays Max Lord? Because Max Lord is also a character from the comics too, correct?
Yes, Maxwell Lord is a character who is introduced in the Justice League comics in the mid '80s, in like 86, 87, and he was sort of like he became sort of like the corporate backer of the Justice League in the Justice League International era, which was a more funny, whimsical sort of era. So Maxwell Lord, he was almost like he was a little shady. He would do some things that weren't quite on the moral up and up side, but he was at the end of the day a good guy and a lovable kind of character. So
kind of like a Saul Goodman type. It sounds like.
Yeah, he could be a Saul Goodman, sure. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, or like a lovable Donald Trump, back when that sort of thing was conceivable.
Yeah, because those.
And then about 10, 15 years back, DC, probably about 15 years back, somewhere in the early 2000s, DC decided to do a big heel turn on Maxwell Lord, where he became outright villainous, and there was a famous moment where Wonder Woman actually Maxwell Lord was like mind controlling Superman, and Wonder Woman actually like broke his neck to like free Superman from his mind control.
Oh damn!
Yeah. So that was a bit she twists his head clear right around.
She went full Zack Snyder.
It went full Zack Snyder, and then Superman saw it and it was like, "Hey, I like the cut of your jib. I'm going to do that in my next movie."
He was like, "Hey, can I steal that move from you?
Can I do that? Really? You could just kill bad guys by breaking their necks? Wow. This opens up a whole new world to me."
Lex Luthor, I'm coming for you.
So like another thing that Max Lord had was after a certain point he realized he could sort of mind control people, at first he would just sort of like push them to like do what he wanted, but he would always get like a nosebleed. What they call a psychic nosebleed after that, because it was such a strain for him to do that.
Oh, so that's why they referenced that in the movie too. So that's where that came from. Oh,
yeah, his nose gets bloody at some point in the movie. So Maxwell Lord, he like, okay, so like we got this wishing stone, and are we getting into spoiler territory now?
I mean, we already talked about Yeah, we've talked about the wish stone, so yeah, I think we kind of are. Yeah.
All right. We'll just say spoiler warning from here on out, people. So listen at your own risk.
Right.
But please come back after you've seen the movie. Yep. So we got the wishing stone. Barbara, she sees it, and I think before she really knows what it is or what it does, she idly wishes, "I wish I could be more like Diana," because she's so pretty and confident and nice and friendly and all that. And Maxwell Lord, he realizes what the stone is, and he steals it from Barbara during this banquet or ritzy gathering thing.
Right.
And he wishes that he internalizes the stone, so like the stone like disintegrates, and now he has the power of the stone.
It's like basically like Jafar in Aladdin, where he wants to become the genie.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, and he gets like an infinite number of wishes. So now Maxwell Lord has the power to grant wishes and stuff. And early on, even though Maxwell Lord, he's presenting himself as this big successful businessman, he's got ads on TV, and he's like this big oil guy. We quickly find out it's really just kind of a sham, and he's not anywhere near the success he portrays himself to be.
Right. He owes a lot of money to people. There's one guy he's talking to one of his clients. I think he's a character in the comics, Simon Stagg.
Simon Stagg, who, in the comics, he was a supporting character / villain for Metamorpho. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so Simon Stagg confronts him in his office saying like he's nothing but a con man and there's all a Ponzi scheme, and he has rights to this he he has rights to the land where there's supposed to be oil, but there's no oil, but he doesn't tell his
Right.
wife.
Apparently, Max Lord has bought up all this land that nobody else really wanted because the oil fields are no good. So, yeah,
Right.
it's
So he's
and Maxwell Lord also has like a son,
yes,
who's running around, who thinks like, of course, the sun rises and sets behind his dad,
right.
and doesn't really realize that his dad's a no good Nick.
Ooh, language, sir, language.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah. So basically, I think what Maxwell Lord wants to become like he knows that the stone is at the Smithsonian, so he kind of seduces Kristen Wiig's character to give it to him not give it to him the stone because what you call it, he wants to make the wish, and then Kristen Wiig's character to give him the stone
and Kristen Wiig she's already getting more glammed up and confident because she made the wish. I don't think she really realizes that it's a stone that's done it, but now she's before she could barely walk in heels because she's nerdy, therefore has no idea how to function as a woman in the world.
Nerds don't have balance.
Exactly. And then after she wishes, she goes out to the store and she gets a tight dress, and now she's walking around in the slinky dress and the high heels, and everyone's like, "Oh, hey, look at Kristen Wiig, who looks slightly different than she did 2 scenes ago."
She's all that.
Yeah, she doesn't wear glasses and her hair's more done. Oh my God, she's so glamorous.
Vodio do. Hey, boys. Yeah, that's all it takes because nerds, beautiful people don't wear glasses, so just take them off.
No. I mean, yeah, if you wear glasses and you don't comb your hair, no one will ever want to have sex with you.
Right.
It's just the way of the world.
The movies don't lie.
Yeah, no. So Diana, at some point she wishes that she could have the love of her life, Steve Trevor, back.
Yes.
Because, she had a lot of chemistry with Chris Pine in the first movie. And, why wouldn't you want to tap into that for the sequel?
Absolutely. So then she's at the party too. And, of course, she looks the way she looks. So a lot of men are like, "Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's up? What's up, girl? How you feeling?" All that.
Yeah.
And then there's this one guy that says, "Hey, Diana." And she rebuffs him as she does everybody else. And the guy keeps following her and saying, "Hey, Diana, hey, Diana." It's like, "Why are you following me? I don't know you." And then the guy says something like the last words that Steve Trevor said to her. And then she realized
in the first movie, he repeats like the stuff that Steve Trevor said right before, well, spoilers for the first movie, right before Steve Trevor died.
Right, exactly. And so then she turns to, "Why did you say that? No, why did you say that? Why did you,
Why did you say that name?" Yeah, he says, "My mother's Martha," and then everything's hunky-dory.
Yeah, it's quite a twist. I did not see that coming.
No, very unexpected. You cannot be a hero in this universe unless your mother's name is Martha.
Right, and so basically, what happens? It's Steve Trevor come back reincarnated in this other person's body. Very quantum leapish.
Yeah. So Diana kind of looks past his outer appearance, and then she starts seeing him as Steve. You see, like some other actor who's like sort of the same height as Chris Pine, and good looking in a different way than a Chris Pine way. So looks like dog shit compared to Chris Pine. Let me tell you,
Chris Pine's a beautiful man.
He's a beautiful, beautiful man, and. But then, as soon as Diana realizes whose spirit is inside this guy, then she starts seeing she and the rest of the audience sees him as Chris Pine.
So I mean, what did you think of this way of bringing back the Chris Pine character? Like, I thought it was interesting.
It's an unexpected way. She literally just kind of wished him back to life. Which again, there's sort of a thing in the comics, like, because a few times in the comics they have killed off Steve Trevor and they've brought him back in one way or the other. I don't think he was ever actually wished back to life, but yeah. I mean, because it's Chris Pine and because he has a nice chemistry with Gal Gadot, I enjoyed that. I don't think it was the best mechanism in the world, but whatever. It's a movie. I'll go with it.
Yeah, like I didn't know why he had to like inhabit somebody else's body in order for him to be back.
That's a little creepy.
A little bit, yeah. Like I've seen.
A little creepy.
Yeah, I mean, my wife kind of pointed it out. Like people have been talking about it online, how that's kind of problematic. How they
Yeah.
how he's in somebody else's body, especially in the their lovemaking
They
scene.
literally go back to this guy's apartment. He's like trying on all the guy's clothes. They spend the night together in this, what I presume is this person's bed. And it's never raised that it's like, yeah, this is creepy.
Yeah, you're using somebody else's body for your own pleasures. That's like
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little weird. And some people have, I think, probably rightly made the point that, hey, if the sexes were reversed on this would play a lot differently and a lot creepier.
oh indeed,
Yeah.
indubitably.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, like I mean, I like that he's back. Like you said, Chris Pine and Gal have great chemistry, but I don't know if this was the best way to bring him back.
I mean, it might have just been cleaner if you just magically bring him back. I mean, we're doing magic wishes. Why not just bring him back without the whole body possession thing?
Yeah, no, agree. Like the whole body thing, it's like you don't just bring him back. You don't need to
Yeah.
somebody else's body. Just bring him in
You
the
don't need that. Just bring in a dream Steve Trevor. We would go with you on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so they try to so at this point they're trying to figure out like how he got back. I think at one point Diana saw that the box that the stone came in was supposed to go to Max Lord, so they go visit Max Lord, and also at this point we see Kristen Wiig realizes that she has like superpowers. She like rips the door off her fridge, and she's realizing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. So we find out over the course of the movie that like because Barbara Minerva did this magic wish thing, she's not just gaining beauty and confidence, she's gaining Wonder Woman's power. So Wonder Woman's powers sort of are gradually fading throughout the movie.
exactly, yeah. So yeah, that's something. Oh, that's something else we learned. Like when people make wishes, they even say the word monkey's paw in it. It's like as
Hmm.
it gives you a wish, it takes away something from you. So
Right, right. So like if Alec Baldwin said, "I wish I could play Donald Trump in the run up to the election," that monkey's paw finger folds down, and it's like, well, you're going to have to play him for the next 4 years of the Trump presidency.
yeah, so maybe in November, like Alec Baldwin actually said, "I renounced my wish." Maybe that's why we
Yeah,
have.
yeah. Who knows?
Maybe this is it. Maybe this is why we have
Who
what we
knows?
have now.
Gal Gadot talked him out of it, and so.
So we have we
Oh,
have to do the thing.
we didn't mention Diana is actually living in the Watergate Hotel.
I didn't even know. Oh, she is.
Yeah, did you not recognize the Watergate?
I did not. I just thought it was like some fancy looking place. Oh,
No,
okay.
she's literally living in the Watergate. I don't think they ever refer to it by name, but it is the
Wow.
Watergate Hotel, which I thought was an interesting touch. And it was like part of this movie was like a bit of a nostalgia trip for me because my family was living in Washington D.C. in 1983.
Oh, wow.
And so, there's a scene where they go down to the Washington Metro, which is the subway system there in Washington D.C. And I was like, oh, I was going through such a nostalgia trip when they were like going down the escalator
Like,
in
oh, the
that because
metro.
it's like a very distinctive look to the subway stations there. And then they go to the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum, which, as a kid, I just loved going to that place, man.
Yeah, I remember I went there like years ago, like for like a class
Mhm.
trip, and I really dug it.
Yeah,
Like the see the spaceships, and of course,
yeah,
astronaut ice cream I bought at the gift shop.
yeah, yeah.
It was pretty
I
fantastic.
mean, they have the Spirit of St. Louis there. They have like the Wright brothers plane. I think they have a space shuttle there now, and they have the original Enterprise from the 1960s television show Star Trek,
Oh,
which they they restored a few years ago to make it like more accurate to how it looked on the show. And I
okay.
remember that thing used to be hanging like right above the gift shop. I think it's in another area now, but
Oh, wow.
we sadly do not see the Enterprise in this movie.
Oh,
But, yeah.
that would have been cool. Like Chris Pine looking at the Enterprise. That would have been like
Yeah, come on. You got to do that little in joke, right?
that would have been a nice little Easter egg. Yeah.
Um, Now, at this point, you might be thinking, hey, this movie sounds kind of slow. It sounds like they're taking a little while to get going. And yes, they are. Um, I have a note in here. I was like, we're an hour in. We are still setting up the bad guys in this movie.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
movie takes its time.
it does. It takes and you feel it. Like I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, we see Max Lord has now become the Stone, and he goes back to the Stag, and he convinces Stag to wish that his business do better, and Stag wishes that, and in return, he takes all of Simon Stagg's shares and all of his money
Yeah.
and whatnot. So then,
Yeah.
so then
And he's
as
like, and I wish you could be out of the picture. And then, like, literally, as Max Lord's in the lobby, people from like the FCC or FEC are there to arrest Simon Stagg.
exactly, and then
So
yeah, so like so Max Lord is getting bigger and bigger.
yeah,
So then I think what Diana and Steve, they go to Max Lord to figure out what's going on, like how this whole thing with Steve is possible. They see
yeah,
that Max Lord is not there. He took a plane to Cairo
right,
to do some business dealings with the king of crude over there, a man named Amir, who kind of controls a big portion of the oil over in Cairo.
right. But before that, we of course have to have the wacky dressing montage where Steve wears a whole lot of wacky '80s
Yeah,
clothes.
remember parachute pants and fanny packs, guys? Crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a bit of a kind of a role reversal where this time, like, Steve is the fish out of water because he doesn't know how things work in the modern world, and Diana, Wonder Woman, she's been living in the world all this time, so she's all up to date on the stuff. But
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't think
yeah,
about
Steve is like 66 years out of date because he died back in World War One, so he doesn't know anything, and isn't it wacky?
that. He's so dumb.
Yeah, and he seems to really like fanny packs.
Yeah, he really. I mean, he loves them.
He loves them. He loves them. I don't really remember fanny packs being much of a thing in 1984, but I guess they were around. I don't know.
I think I remember fanny packs. I remember my mom had one. Pretty sure my sister had one. Melanie, you can text me and let me know. But yeah, I remember that being more of a late '80s thing. But again,
Yeah.
they just kind of cram in all '80s thing into 1984 because it's
Yes.
'80s. You don't need
Yeah.
to pinpoint the date.
It's 80s. I didn't get my first fanny pack until like the early 90s, I think.
Okay.
So
Yeah, by
I
then
was
they
like,
were kind of gone.
they're probably on their way to being passe. You know, if I'm jumping onto a trend, the trend is probably over. So
You're the benchmark.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So then they figure they got to go to Cairo. So then they go to Smithsonian to, I guess, hijack a jet to fly to Cairo,
As you do.
as you do. And
And this is on the theory that because Steve Trevor flew a biplane in World War One, he knows how to pilot a fighter jet.
it's the same thing. Tomato, tomato.
He literally, like, they just hop into the cockpit and he's like flipping switches and he's like, okay, wait, where's the fuel? Oh, okay. And then he's just like, and then they are just off and flying in fighter jet.
Yeah, that. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. It's like, wait a minute, he hasn't flown since World War One. Like, there's been some, great advancements in aeronautics since then.
Yeah, yeah. And literally, like, while they're taking, he's saying, like, oh, don't worry with how I fly, they'll never catch us. And as they're all they're getting ready to take off, Diana's like, oh, right, radar. I should tell you about radar.
It's like he didn't know about radar till Diana told him, but he knows how to fly this jet.
Right. Yeah.
Also, as they make off, of course, people are trying to stop them, and then that's when Diana she has this idea to make the jet invisible because
Right.
she has the powers to do that, or she's only done it once within the 50 years. Because like it's the same.
Yeah, she says she wants to use like the same sort of thing that they use to hide Themyscira from the outside world, which I thought was a clever way to tie it in.
Right.
Like obviously they're getting into the invisible jet, the classic Wonder Woman thing. Like if you ever watch Super Friends or the old Linda Carter series, that is a thing that Wonder Woman has.
Yeah.
She has the invisible plane, invisible jet, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and so then we get the invisible jet.
Yeah. She's able to successfully shield it using like her Amazonian magic thingy. And there's a neat scene where they're just like flying through Washington D.C. and they come across fireworks going off because I guess it's the 4th of July, which they haven't really seen fit to tell us beforehand. But but there's a really beautiful scene where they're just like flying through fireworks in the invisible jet, and you're seeing them fireworks going off above them, And then they like fly up above the clouds, and we see the fireworks going off below the clouds, just sort of glowing through the clouds.
Yeah, I mean, visually it's beautiful, but the
Yeah,
whole thing about him being able to fly a jet just like that is like, all right, well, I'll suspend disbelief yet again to go with
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Um,
Um, and
oh,
it's also a weird thing that they're taking the time to do this when it's like kind of time is of the essence for them to get to Cairo. But
yeah, like didn't they like isn't the whole reason they hijacked that jet is so they can get there as soon as possible? But
yeah,
like so they hijacked the jet, but they have time to like look at the pretty fireworks. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
guess.
I get
Yeah.
it. It's something for the trailer and eye candy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was reach. Actually, it was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. So I did enjoy that sequence, even though it doesn't really make too much sense. But
Yeah, I hear you. It's pretty enough.
what you gonna do?
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we're in Cairo. Max Lord is meeting with Amir, and I
Yeah,
think Amir he's trying to get Amir to make a wish for him. And Amir wishes that the land could be returned to his people, and Max of course makes that happen. And then he says, "Well, in return, I'll take all your oil shares." Of course, Amir laughs at him, saying he's already sold his oil to the Saudis. So Max takes his security team and all his soldiers and leaves Amir powerless and defenseless for the onslaught that's about to happen. Because
right. And a wall goes up between that area and like the outside world.
yeah, like so that that happens, and of course, I guess like also people see that as like a big thing because like I guess the poor people are like now walled off from people other from the resources on the other side of the wall,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
guess like Russia sees that as like an act of aggression. Russia, there's a lot going on here
yeah,
at this point.
yeah.
Then we see as Max Lord leaves with his new security team, Diana and Steve see him on the road. They kind of meet him halfway, so then they go chase him. There's a huge big fight scene
Yeah.
where Diana's trying to get to him.
And Diana finally decides, she's like, hey, we're an hour, 20 minutes into this movie. Maybe it's time to have a second scene with Wonder Woman.
Yeah, yeah,
What do you say?
yeah. Should I become Wonder Woman again? Huh?
By the way, hour, 20 minutes into the movie, she is Wonder Woman for the second time.
This movie takes its time.
This movie takes its time, you guys.
Yeah, so we see Wonder Woman getting into the big battle scene. We also see that she is getting weaker. She's not as strong as she usually is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Max gets away. There's this whole big
Yeah.
melee, and
It could be an action sequence. Like Steve helps her out a little bit. There are these what do you call these vehicles? They're kind of like tanks, I guess.
oh, like not Humvees, like Hummers, I guess. Or
Yeah, something like that. And they got like the machine guns, and they're aiming the machine guns, and she goes like under some of the vehicles in like an Indiana Jones type of way.
yeah, yeah. This action scene is actually pretty good. Like I know we've been kind of razzing on this movie here and there, but I actually enjoyed this action scene. I thought it was pretty solid.
Yeah, but things are tougher for Wonder Woman because yeah, she's losing her powers, and she's only showing up once every hour.
Right.
So
And also, before she left for Cairo, she called Barbara to find out more about the stone and more, like where it came from and all that jazz.
right.
And of course, and we also see like Barbara's kind of like as she's getting stronger, she's also losing a bit of her like kindness and empathy and becoming more.
She's getting power hungry. She's beating up suspected rapist guys in the park, or attempted rapist guys, I guess.
Yeah, it's yeah, she's changing. She's more.
Yeah, there's this guy who like harasses her as she's walking home early in the movie, who's like drunk, half in the bag, and he's like, "Let me walk you home," and she's like, "No, no, no." And then she encounters him later in the movie, and then she's just like, "I'm gonna beat you up viciously," ba 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 ba.
Yeah,
And
like yeah, she yeah shows him what for.
yeah, she does.
As it were. So
So
yes. So at this point, like Max Lord gets away. He goes off to the next oil
yeah.
tycoon he can find.
And then we get a whole lot of scenes of just Maxwell Lord going from person to person to person to person to person, saying like, "What do you wish for?" And he gives the person what they wish for, but there's always a price to be paid, and Maxwell Lord gains something from it.
Yeah, and then pretty much at the end of it, he ends up owning like half the oil reserve in the world.
Right.
I think he's becoming more and
Right.
more powerful. Barbara, I think, Diana calls Barbara about the stone, and she's found out some stuff about it, and she ends up meeting up with some guy in DC who like works at Galaxy Records, but he's also says he's like a Mayan shaman.
Right. Sure. Yeah. That's a career combo that you find a lot. I mean,
You know,
I think most people in who work in record stores are Mayan shamans.
hey, you never know, man.
Yeah.
Talk to the people at Tower Records. You don't know what type of side hustle they have.
That's right. I mean, and I think the people from Tower Records, because there is no longer Tower Records, they are mainly Mayan shamans now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They
I
pursue
mean,
their
if you go on LinkedIn and you look up anyone who worked at Tower Records back in the day, they are now current occupation Mayan shaman.
yeah, they follow their passion.
Yes. Yes.
They follow their dream. Yeah. So at this point, Diana and Steve go back to DC. They meet up with Barbara. They meet up with the Mayan shaman slash record store Jackie, and
Sure.
he tells them about the stone, and they basically find that the stone has been in possession throughout the centuries, throughout the ages, all in cities that are no longer around, all like dead cities that seem to have been decimated and their society destroyed by the
So the
stone.
stone is bad news.
Yeah, some would say a
And
monkey's paw.
yeah, and so meanwhile, Maxwell Lord, he's getting more power hungry. So he goes to the White House. He finds somebody who says, like, "Don't you wish I could go to the White House and meet with the president?" But it's getting trickier for Maxwell Lord because he has to find somebody who he hasn't granted a wish to already.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, he's getting more, like I said, power hungry. I don't know the way Pedro played it. He's like, I don't want to say he has like coked up energy, but he does kind of have that, like where he's like constantly sweaty and nervous and twitchy, or maybe it's because
His
like
eyes are getting bloodshot. You can see the strain this is putting on him.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I guess like as he's making all these wishes, they take away his health, and like he's like his nose is bleeding, like we said
you
before.
see his health bar going lower and lower at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, he's like his ears are bleeding at one point. I'm like, Jesus,
Yeah,
he looks bad.
yeah.
Uh,
Like you said, very coked up energy. If it would not be out of place if he like went out dancing with the Batabi brothers to What Is Love.
oh, don't hurt me, don't hurt me no
Nope.
more.
Baby, don't hurt me no more.
Yeah, you talk to
Um,
me, you me.
you me him me. Um, so he goes to the White House
all, all,
and he
all,
meets
all coked up.
he all cooked up as you do because it's 1984. I mean, how else do you go to the White House?
Yeah,
And he meets. Was that supposed to be Ronald Reagan?
I,
I don't think they ever called him President Reagan, but he looked sort of, maybe, kind of vaguely like Ronald Reagan.
yeah, I think he was supposed to look Reagan-esque
Uh huh.
without them calling him Reagan. They just said Mr. President. I mean,
Yeah, but he looks and sounds nothing like Ronald Reagan.
yeah, like I guess they want to. Yeah, I guess they kind of want to make it as apolitical as possible, or kind of steer away from, you know, the political facts, as it were. So just,
I don't know. I don't know what they were going for there.
let me see if
Because if they were sincerely trying to make that guy look like Ronald Reagan, they did a bad job.
yeah. I mean, on IMDb, it just lists him as POTUS. So
Okay. Okay.
it's just generic president.
Okay. So he's just he's president generic president.
Absolutely. Yeah. So at this point, of course, now that all this is happening in Cairo, like tensions are rising. There was like riots in the Saudi embassy. Like,
Right.
the streets are going bananas. It's getting
Dogs and cats living together.
Mass
Yeah.
hysteria.
Yeah.
So he gets a meeting with the president, and he asks the president what he wants, what he wishes for. The power of the wish. Of course, the president wishes for more weapons, more nukes, because
Yeah.
that's how they'll listen if we have more weaponry than they do, and
Right.
of course that escalates things. And Max Lord, in return, he wants like to be as powerful as the president. He wants total autonomy to do whatever he wants. Then he finds out about like some new broadcasting program they have set up. Like,
He's in the Oval Office, and he literally like turns around and he's like, "Hey, what are these charts here?" And Reagan, or the president, is like, "Oh, that's this top secret thing. That's like a broadcast thing with internet connected satellites, kind of like the Star Wars system, the missile defense system, uh,
yeah,
where it just allows you because like Max Lord, he has to touch people for his power to work, and he says, and with the satellite thing, you can touch people all over the world. And Max Lord's like, touch people?
like the sound of that.
And Reagan's like, well, no, not literally touch people. That's just how it was explained to me. That's how I'm explaining it to you. But it's like, okay, you're just leaving the top secret charts up in the middle of the Oval Office. Okay, all right.
Yeah, they're just lying around.
They're just lying around. They're just
Whatever. Who's gonna see it? Come on.
whatevs. Yeah,
Whatever, man. Hey, man.
it's casual.
We played fast and loose here at the White House. It's Casual Friday. Lighten up.
That's right. That's right. Everybody's coked up. Nobody's thinking about national security.
It's whatever, man. Come on, have a Bartles and James. Loosen up.
So like Diana and Steve, they sneak into the White House. Well, they get to the White House because like one of the guys that was macking on Diana earlier in the movie, he's got some position at the White House, and so she takes advantage of that connection to be like, yes, hey, we want to go to the White House. We want to go on a tour. And then while he's like leading them around, they literally just sneak off to the side.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. How did they know that he was at the White House, that Max Lord? I don't think. I went back and watched it. I don't know how they knew he was there.
Well, I mean, if you watched it twice and you still don't know, I mean, it's very vague. I mean, I don't think it's that easy to sneak off from your handler on a White House tour. I'm just guessing. I've never been to the White House, but
just like tap him on the shoulder, it's like, hey, look at that, and then just walk the other way.
Yeah, I mean, he's like walking in front of them. They just walk off to the side, and then it's like they've shook him. And it's like, really? Okay, they don't have Secret Service agents making sure you don't go into the closed off areas or anything like that.
We'll get into this. This whole White House scene, the fight scene that happens later, like, I just kept asking, there should be like swarms of like, Secret Service and SWAT teams. And like, it's literally like 5 guys.
Yeah. It's the White House. They put up a better fight in Superman 2 when the Phantom Zone villains were taking things over.
Thank you. I was like, where is everybody? Because there are parts where, like, we'll talk about it later, but like, Minerva shows up, and like then like Minerva and Diana have like this whole conversation after Minerva beats her down to the ground, and like nobody interrupts them. No cops coming, no storm. It's like quiet.
Minerva just shows up for some reason. They don't really get into why or how she shows up there. But she's getting more evil because now she's wearing like lots of animal prints and she's got a lot of mascara. Yeah. So that's their code for her being more evil.
Right. When you're evil, you have like a lot of dark mascara, high heel, like thigh-high boots. Bedazzled jackets with studs on them. That's a bad boy.
Yeah. I mean, one of the reviews I read was just like, she doesn't look so much like a supervillain as she looks like she's going to be in a Duran Duran music video.
Ooh, hungry like the wolf.
Yeah, very much like that. She smells like she sounds.
Right. Oh, but yeah, I mean, so at this point, Barbara's trying to stop her because earlier they found out that in order to destroy the stone, they either have to destroy the stone to stop, make everything go back to normal, or everybody has to renounce their wishes. And of course, both Barbara and Diana don't want to do that. Right, because then Steve Trevor goes back to being dead, and Barbara goes back to having slightly mussy hair and astigmatism, I guess. I gotta go back to being nearsighted? Fuck that.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously they both have a lot to lose.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, yeah. So then there's this big fight.
I mean, it's like a pretty good action sequence where Wonder Woman's like fighting off all the guys in the White House, though.
Yeah. The fight scenes are good. I'll say that the fight scenes.
Yeah, the fight scenes are good. It just takes forever to get to them, and the stuff in between the fight scenes not terribly interesting, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's where things kind of get a little shaky.
Yeah.
So Barbara saves Max Lord from Wonder Woman, and she beats Wonder Woman up in a very good fight scene. And of course, while Wonder Woman is down on the ground, hurt because she's not as strong as she used to be, that's when Barbara has this whole diatribe about like people like you don't know what it is for people like me. You've had everything. I have had nothing. Now it's my turn. Now it's my time to shine. Like all that. It seemed.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some of the dialogue in this movie seems
because nerds have been beaten down all their lives and they're all vengeful.
That's right. We're all angry inside.
Yes.
We all hate.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go online, you will see that some of that's kind of true, but not.
Oh no! Yeah, no, there are definitely vengeful, angry nerds out there.
Oh, indeed.
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely, 100%. I don't think 100% of us are vengeful and angry, but
not all nerds. That's all.
Not all. Hashtag not all nerds.
But yeah. So basically, at this point, Barbara and Max, go away. In Max's helicopter as they fly to the broadcasting station.
Yeah, the president's helicopter, because it has a little president. Yeah, he steals the helicopter. Like, what is the helicopter called? I know that the plane, of course, is Air Force One. Does the helicopter have a special name?
I don't know. Like just Chopper One or.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. The Airwolf.
All right, somebody look that up for us.
Airwolf? Is it Airwolf? Is that it?
Yes, it's Airwolf. It was piloted by Jan Michael Vincent and Ernest Borgnine. Just another 80s tie-in that we have. Let me see.
You know all those names right off the top of your head. That's fantastic.
I'm just gonna Google presidential helicopter name. Let's see if it has a name.
Right,
Marine One. Okay.
Marine.
So they're aboard Marine One. They are flying off on Marine One.
I like Airwolf better.
Airwolf is a much cooler name.
Right.
You could also call it Blue Thunder. I would also accept Blue Thunder.
Ooh, Tropic Thunder. That's a good.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Blue Thunder, another 80s helicopter show.
Yeah.
Because, the 80s, you couldn't have just one super helicopter show. You had to have two.
You need dueling helicopter shows, if anything.
Yeah. That's why the 80s were such an amazing decade.
Oh, what a
time. We had two super helicopter TV shows.
What a time to be alive.
It's just really, we lived in an age of wonders.
Just chopper shows as far as the eye could see.
Yeah, that's right. Oh,
wow. All right.
We had Knight Rider. We had the super car show that was a souped up Trans Am. There was some super motorcycle show that I don't remember the name of. Rex Smith was in it.
I was going to say Lorenzo Lamas Renegade, but that's not it.
All right. I'm gonna Google that now too. Okay. Rex Smith super motorcycle.
We almost had Heat Vision and Jack. That was almost a thing. That would have been nice.
Street Hawk. It was called Street Hawk. Street Hawk. It aired for 13 episodes on ABC in 1985.
Holy cow. That is a deep dive story. My hat's off to you.
Yeah. No, I remember this. And then, I don't think I ever watched Street Hawk, but I remember it in the TV Guide preview issue. You couldn't have a TV show in the 80s unless you had a souped up vehicle somehow.
Yeah.
And apparently George Clooney guest starred in the second episode.
Whoa.
So there you go.
Cloons? Look at him.
The Cloons.
That and Killer Tomatoes? Wow, he had it going on.
Yeah. Bianca Jagger was in the 8th episode.
Wow. The stars come out.
Episode 9 had Joanna Kearns and Charles Napier.
Whoa. Wow.
And in episode 12, we had Dennis Franz.
Top tier talent.
And there is a complete DVD box set.
Guys, I mean, your Christmas shopping is done if you haven't done it.
That's right. If you're still looking for that belated Christmas gift, please consider Street Hawk, the complete series, on DVD. It's released from Shout Factory, so you know it's good.
Yes, your friends will ask you, what is this?
Yes. Special features included all new 41-minute documentary titled The Making of a Legend and an unaired pilot featuring a different Street Hawk firepower.
There's another Street Hawk firepower?
I guess so. Like how there's
Ghostbusters? Wow.
Yes. Let's say yes.
Okay. Wow. This is
all right.
Wow. We entertain and educate here.
That's right. I kind of wish we could spend just the rest of this podcast just discussing Street Hawk, but no time to go into that.
No, we got to finish this movie here.
But to suffice it to say, this movie would have been so much better if it had Rex Smith and a super motorcycle.
I mean, I think any movie would be better if it had Rex Smith
That's right, and it would have been 1980s accurate. It premiered in on January 4th, 1985. So it just missed the 1984
Oh,
date.
damn.
But we're we got the shoulder pads and the fanny packs and all that. So I think we could get away with incorporating Street Hawk.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So what at this point, where the hell were we? Shit.
We were at the White House, or they'd just gotten away from the White House in Marine One.
Right. So Diana and Steve Trevor are kind of leave the White House. They're walking through the streets. It's total pandemonium at this part. There's like riots everywhere. Cars are being overturned.
This would have been a good time to bring back the Invisible Jet. You could chase after Marine One / Airwolf and the Invisible Jet.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that.
I don't know. They just like the Invisible Jet. They just use it to get down to Cairo, and then when we pick up with them again, they're in a car in Cairo that they've rented or later buy from this guy. And I'm just like, well, what happened to the jet? You stole the jet. Is it just like lying invisible on some runway someplace?
Yeah, somebody walking right into it, hurting themselves?
Did you have to refuel at any point?
So many questions.
I don't know. Did you fly it back to the U.S.? I guess, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Oh, also, at this point, we should probably bring up the point that when they came back from Cairo, they went to Diana's apartment at Watergate, and
yes.
Steve Trevor sees like something tied up in like a wrapping, and then Diana says, "Oh yes, that's my Amazonian warrior armor from Asteria. Used to wear that."
Yes.
And then
and Asteria was this Amazon. They kind of tease her in the opening scene with the American Gladiators tournament thing. She was like this Amazon who went to the outside world, and she wore this golden armor. Which, if you're a comic fan, it's basically the golden armor that Wonder Woman wears in Kingdom Come.
Right.
The big eagle armor.
Right. Here in the movie, they explain it as like she had to stay back and fight off all the men as the Amazonian women made their way to the island to start their new civilization. So they fashioned an armor for her that would like withstand all the men's blows and whatnot. So she was like,
yeah.
So she's the reason that they were able to escape and start their new world.
Yeah.
Which comes into play later on in the movie.
We got the big climax, like Maxwell Lord. He flees to, where was this place that he fled to? I wasn't really clear on where this place was.
I don't know. It's just like some remote island, I guess. That was.
He was in some other country, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure.
I don't know where it was. They were kind of unclear.
He was doing it to hijack the. Let me see the satellite broadcast system. Where did he go?
I don't know. Well, I
don't know where it was. I don't know where this place was.
All right. Well, while they go there, they find the broadcast satellite studio, and then they set up what they had to do. But while that's happening, Diana and Steve are Steve basically says, "Look, you got to take back your wish. You got to get your strength back so you could save the day. It's fine. We had what we had. She's basically saying
he says, I've had a good life. It was better because you were in it. It's kind of a touching goodbye scene. It's not quite as touching as the first goodbye scene they had, but
right, yeah. And Diana doesn't want to, and she says, I'll never love again. And she said, you don't have to say goodbye because I'm already. So of course they give one last kiss. She runs away from him, crying, and he says, "I'll always love you." And as she runs away, she says, "I renounce my wish." She immediately gets her strength back, whips out the lasso, flies through the air, and then begins flying. She can learn. She now has the gift of flight.
Yeah, she kind of figures out how to fly. At first, she's just like lassoing things. She like lassos onto a building and kind of launches herself up that way, and then she lassos onto a plane, and she's like riding behind the plane, and then she just kind of gradually learns how to fly.
Now, is that a thing from the comic? Does Wonder Woman know how? I always thought she just never knew how to fly. Like I just
they basically gave her the power of flight in the 80s when she was revamped in the mid 80s when George Perez revamped her. Like before that, she basically just depended on the invisible plane. She would occasionally sort of glide along the air currents, which is like close to flying, but not quite flying. It's not like Superman style flying.
It's like gliding.
But then when they revamped her in around 86, 87, they were just like, yeah, screw it, she can fly.
Huh. All right, interesting.
Because they kind of got rid of the invisible jet around that time too.
Okay.
So I think they wanted to make up for that a little bit. Okay. And then, of course, because nothing in comics ever really goes away forever, they bring back the invisible jet too. So,
wow. All right. This is
so basically, she can fly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wow.
And she could fly at the end of the last movie too. So, but she, I guess, forgot how to do that after that, and so she sort of learns how to fly again.
Oh, she did fly at the end of the last movie, didn't she?
At the very end, yeah.
Oh,
she like flies towards the camera.
I totally forgot that. Holy moly! Yeah, so this shouldn't be that big a deal then.
It shouldn't be, but yet somehow it is.
All right. Again, we'll get it. We'll talk about the end, but yeah, this movie ain't perfect. But
yeah, it's got some problems, you guys.
It's got some problems. All right, so at this point, Maxwell Lord is able to reach out to everybody in the world, saying all you have to do is make wishes.
He's like basically hijacking all the TV signals in the world, so he can reach most everyone on Earth.
Exactly. So, and basically at this, and like of course people make wishes, and it has, very dire ramifications. Somebody wishes they were famous, and like suddenly everybody is after them, and
this woman in a Chinese restaurant who's like a waitress or something, and then she says, "I wish I were famous," and then immediately you see people outside the window who are like, "Oh my god!" and they're clamoring. And like in England, we see a woman and her boyfriend are fighting, and she says like, "Oh, I wish you and all the Irish could go back to where you came from," and he says, "Well, I wish you would drop dead." Wow. And then we see outside the window, like the police are starting to gather up all the Irish people, and then the woman like starts to drop dead of a heart attack. So,
so basically everybody in the world's making all these wishes, like people wishes for power and fame and strength and weapons, and it's having all these dire consequences across the whole world, and everything's just like, just falling into disarray. And while they are making their wishes, Max is wishing for their strength and their power to like sort of rebuild himself and heal his health, and so basically so he can become invincible. Shit's gone loco, as I wrote down.
Yeah. The shit has gone loco.
Exactly. So at this point, also as Wonder Woman flies to the broadcast studio, where again I don't know how she knew where it was, but I guess she was following the frequency and the satellite, so I guess she figured it out that way. But
I don't know. I don't know.
But she also stopped to go back to her apartment to get the armor, and she comes back in, flying in on the big golden armor that Asteria was wearing, and again we have another fight scene. She takes out all the soldiers around the broadcast studio, and of course we see Barbara, Kristen Wiig's character, who is now Cheetah, because like
she made a subsequent wish that she could be like a predator, like an animal predator from the animal kingdom. She never says, she's never called Cheetah, and Diana's never called Wonder Woman over the course of the movie. But yes, for those of you playing along at home, Barbara Minerva finally becomes Cheetah 2 hours and 6 minutes in to this movie.
Yep.
2 hours, 6 minutes in of a 2 hour, 31 minute movie. So she is the villain for 25 minutes of screen time.
Yes. And as far as the CGI and the costuming goes, it didn't look, I don't know, it looked okay, but it looked.
I thought she looked all right, but I mean, you never really get a good look at her because these climactic fight scenes, they're at dusk. Well, they're not really. I don't think they were really shot at night. I think they were just like shot during the day, and then they just tinted the film blue to make it look like it's nighttime.
It's like it's super dark and cloudy, and you can get good looks of her, but you can't. The way she moves like so quickly, it's hard to get like a good look at her. Yeah. I mean, it looked all right. But you still kind of see her face, but her body's kind of furry and stuff, and she looks sort of Cheetah-like, and it's a neat fight.
But it was just like, why didn't you do this an hour ago?
Yeah. I mean, I guess they're the way they want to frame it is because they had Kristen Wiig in it, so they want to show as much of Kristen Wiig as possible.
I
Maybe.
get, but it's like, Cheetah is one of the Wonder Woman villains that everybody knows just through Super Friends and media saturation and stuff. And it's like, well, what's more interesting, seeing Wonder Woman fight a cat lady or just seeing Maxwell Lord saying like, "I grant your wish"? Which would you rather see in a movie?
Yeah, I don't know that whole wish granting angle. I don't know
There's
why.
so much wish granting movie in this movie.
Yeah, just that
So
angle.
much wish granting.
Yeah, that whole wish. I don't know why it irks me so. But that
In one of my notes, like 1 hour 35 minutes in, I wrote, "What do you wish for?" I wish for this movie to be better.
yeah, yeah. That angle is just kind of a cheesy angle. Just him. Oh, I want to become a genie, and I don't. We'll get into it. But
It, I mean, it's just not terribly interesting, you know?
that might be it. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think it's a great thing to hook your movie on.
yeah. Let's hook this movie on wishes.
Yeah, yeah, but so like she defeats the cheetah. She's got her golden armor. She has like the thing has wings around it, and she's kind of shielding herself from the attacks. Wonder Woman's shielding herself from the attacks, kind of like what the Falcon did in the Marvel movies, where his wings kind of fold around him,
Oh yeah,
and she's doing that, and then the wings kind of get ripped off, and then she's just in her golden armor. And Gal Gadot looks great in the golden armor, by the way. It's a great look.
fierce.
It's fierce. Yes, she is. She is Sasha Fierce.
Ah,
Uh, and then she gets inside. She gets to Maxwell Lord. Maxwell Lord's looking kind of rough. He's got the nosebleeds, the ear bleeds. He's got veins popping out of his forehead.
he's a hot
He's
mess.
seen better days.
Yeah. But at this point he's at full power. There's like winds whooshing around him.
Right.
He's like I have it all. Let's like
Ultimate cosmic power. Living space.
solo clap. Thank you, sir.
And Wonder Woman, she gets the magic lasso around him, which is the lasso of truth. So you have to tell the truth when you're enveloped in it.
Yeah.
And she's has to get Maxwell Lord and everybody on Earth to like renounce their wishes.
Right. And I think she does that through like a heartfelt speech,
Yes.
where it's just like, oh, you're not the only one who wishes things were different. We're all, the world is crazy now, but please believe in the power of truth and love. Renounce your wish. It's very
Yeah,
much like
you're not the only one who's had hardship. You're not the only one who struggles, and that's a message I think that people can definitely respond to in 2020.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, after this scene, I was reminded of Gal Gadot singing "Imagine" and how that changed the world.
Right. I mean, that is watching that video. That is a hardship that I personally have had to overcome.
Yeah, a woman's.
Because if you're making a video of you singing Imagine with all your celebrity friends, maybe get everyone to sing in the same key.
Yeah, yeah. Get like one of those little pitch pipe harmonicas.
I'm just throwing that out there. Yeah, do a little harmonica, do a little
Yeah,
beforehand.
have some rehearsal time. That's all I'm
Yeah, maybe film the second take.
saying. Yeah, just make sure it's good, but you don't have to get it out immediately.
Oh, that thing was so painful.
Yeah, that. Yeah, I mean, because I thought of that when I was watching this, where it's like, oh, they're kind of trying to speak to the humanity of everyone, and they just think
Mm-hmm.
that giving all these good vibes is enough to reach people and to get people to change their ways. And I mean,
Uh-huh.
in this movie, they do it because, like you said, like Gal Gadot has the lasso around Max Lord's leg, and I think at first we see Max Lord renounce. He renounces, spoiler. He renounces his wish after seeing his his wishes have done to people, and then they go back into Max Lord's childhood, and it's like they show he had an abusive dad, and
Yeah,
like how he got made fun of as a kid, and he was
right.
teased and bullied, and people didn't think much of him, and then Max Lord was able to see what's happening to his kid, His son was kind of
Yeah, there's a whole runner in this movie where we periodically come back to Maxwell Lord and his kid, and it is not interesting. It's not much of anything, you know.
yeah. I mean that whole thing was put in to give you some empathy for him too. Like
Yeah, I just could not find it in me to care about the relationship between Max Lord and his son.
oh, but
I,
he has a kid he likes. He's a nice guy.
okay, fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why do I care?
Yeah, I don't know. It is weird for him to go from that because when he's at full power, screaming like, "Oh, I got I have the power!" Like I got vibes of like Raul Julia in Street Fighter, like
Sure. Yeah. What? Why wouldn't you?
like game over. Like he had that power, but then you see them trying to show some empathy for him, like he's an actual caring person who's had such
Yeah.
bad luck, and like of course, like I said, like they make him a wait. Actually, that's another thing. Was he a father in the comics or no?
I read before. Apparently, like Maxwell Lord, he has a daughter in the comics, which I was not aware of, but he does not have a son.
Okay, I didn't know if that was like a thing they just put in there to make.
Yeah, it says on the IMDb trivia, Maxwell Lord has an adopted son named Alistair in the film. In the comics, he has a daughter named Emma, who is his daughter by blood. So,
All right.
I did not know about Emma, but okay, well,
Okay. All right. So then after Max Lord seeing what the world his son is growing in and how he's in danger, he like realizes the error of his ways and renounces his wish, and that causes everybody else to renounce their wish. And like,
right, because I think Wonder Woman's speech was somehow broadcasting to everyone.
yeah, that's never made clear either. Because like she's kind of whispering it to him, but like he doesn't. She doesn't seem to be in front of a camera at all or anywhere. Or
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot
Also,
of
like, how would this translate to everyone in the world?
yeah.
Like, is she speaking to them mentally somehow? Or I don't know. I was a little unclear on that. But
Yeah.
also, I was kind of disengaged from the movie at this point, so I might have missed something.
Yeah, no, it's like that they don't. It's not really clear on that.
I mean, it is a very Wonder Woman kind of ending because she is supposed to be all about peace, love, and understanding. Stop a war with love, make a hawk a dove,
Yes,
make a liar tell the truth.
war is over if you want
Exactly.
it. And so
Exactly.
this is Christmas. Yeah, it's yeah. So
I mean that is a very Wonder Woman way to defeat her foe, though. So
yeah, it is.
she is not a hero that just pummels people into submission, or at least she's not supposed to be.
Yeah, she's not snapping necks like Superman. She's actually
No.
trying to reach people's humanity and empathy. Which
Right. And if that doesn't work, neck snapping.
That's right. That's Plan B.
Right. Exactly.
So through that, Max Lord renounces his wish. Everybody else renounces their wish. Everything goes back to normal. Minerva goes back to being, her old self. And then we see Max Lord running through the streets looking for his son, and he hugs his son, saying, I love you. I want to do better by you. Like, oh, I love you. And the son's like, you're my dad. I love you no matter who you are. And
yeah, I love you even though you are a loser.
Yeah. And
I knew you were a loser before, Dad.
It's cool that
and I still loved you.
It's like, dude, it's cool. Just be around and feed me ice cream. I'll love you no matter what, Pop.
Exactly. I'm 12. It's not too tough to get me on your side.
My expectations are super low.
Right.
I can be bought with a GoBot and an ice cream pop.
Exactly. And it's the 1980s. The toys aren't as good.
That's right. Yeah.
There's no Nintendo yet.
Yeah. What do they got? Like
you give me an Atari 2600. I'm good.
Yeah. Give them like Yo-Yo and some Lincoln Logs. I'm fine.
Exactly. Give me some Play-Doh. Give me some silly putty. I'll make backwards images of comic strip characters all freaking day, man.
Give me a Slinky, and you're my hero for years.
I'll do the Viewmaster. Those are still a thing.
Yeah. So that's kind of the end. The way the movie ends, like that's another thing that kind of bugged me. They didn't follow up as to what happened with Max Lord. His story arc just ends there, and Barbara Minerva's storyline kind of ends there. Like they don't get arrested. Nothing kind of. We don't know if they get arrested or what happens to them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't think much of anything happens to him because I think because of the continuity the other films have set up, Wonder Woman is still basically a secret. She doesn't really do much in public, or at least nowhere where like cameras spot her or anything. And like I said early in this episode, a few times she saves people and she's like, "Shh, don't tell anyone."
You know,
And apparently that's enough to keep her secret until like she comes out to battle Doomsday in Superman versus Batman.
yeah, that's true. And they're also twice I've noticed. Max Lord calls her Diana while she's in her Wonder Woman costume, and Barbara Minerva calls her Diana while she's in Wonder Woman. So they actually know who she is, but I guess they're gonna keep the secret.
I guess, yeah. I mean, secret identities don't really seem to be a thing in most live action superhero movies these days. You know, everybody's getting their masks ripped off all the time and calling each other by their real names in costume. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to the Justice League, there was at one point where Bruce Wayne visits Aquaman, and Aquaman calls him like Batman in front of everybody.
Yeah. Aquaman just is like, "You're out of your mind, Bruce Wayne," and it's like, oh well, now the entire fishing village knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Yeah, all these fishermen.
Great going, Aquaman.
Yeah, more like Aqua jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as the movie goes, that's pretty much it. Like the next scene we see, it's Christmas time, and
yeah, it's like a sort of an epilogue. Like I guess it's a few months later because we had 4th of July during the movie, and now it's Christmas.
Yeah, and like Barbara's kind of walking around, like a little winter wonderland, and people.
Diana is.
Yeah. What'd I say?
You said Barbara.
Oh, Diana. Yeah, we don't know what happens to Barbara.
No.
Question mark. So, but
and she's hit by snowballs from a couple kids, and apparently, like one was Patty Jenkins' kid, and one was Gal Gadot's kid.
Right. I think they say Gal Gadot's husband is in that scene too. She's at the.
Yeah. Her other kid and her husband are in her like on the merry-go-round or something.
Right. And so she's just kind of walking around, and then she sees the man who was the body that Steve Trevor was using or renting out.
Right.
And then they have like a little back and forth.
And he's wearing one of the outfits that we saw in the trying on the 80s outfit montages.
Right.
And he's wearing the outfit that Diana really liked for Steve, and Steve is like, "Oh no, this is lame." But it's like one of the most normal looking outfits. It's just like this sort of puffy shirt and this big scarf that's bunched up around.
Yeah, I thought the outfit looked fine, but whatever. But
I mean, it looks fine. It doesn't look as intentionally ridiculous as most of the other 80s outfits he wears.
Yeah, it needs a fanny pack. I think that's what we're trying to.
Well, most things do.
What doesn't?
Yeah, and Diana's like, "Oh, I like your outfit," because like when Steve is kind of giving up living again, Diana's saying like, "Oh, I'll never love again," and Steve is like, "Well, no, I mean, there's this whole world out there. You shouldn't deprive yourself." And I guess they're kind of implying that maybe she could get something started with the guy whose body Steve inhabited or took over or whatever you want to call it.
See, I thought that was going to happen. I thought like they were having a nice exchange, but then he just walks off and saying, "All right, have a good day, happy holidays," and that's it. Like,
also, it took me a while to realize that was supposed to be the same guy. If he hadn't been wearing the same outfit, I don't know if I would have recognized him from before.
Oh yeah, I think that's why
you don't see that guy's face too much.
Yeah, I mean, you see it in the mirror,
and at this point, it's like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, he's not super recognizable or distinguished.
No.
So that's why they probably had him in the outfit. But yeah, I thought like they would like meet up for coffee or something, and I thought that would be the start of her maybe moving on with her life. And
taking like a baby step.
Yeah,
because like, well, hey, I'm immortal. Maybe I don't want to go 60 odd years between relationships.
Yeah, maybe I can have like a nice coffee buddy. Or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But that doesn't happen.
I mean, Match.com isn't a thing yet.
Not yet.
So yeah, maybe I should date a little.
Yeah, they can't swipe right just yet. So
exactly.
But that doesn't happen. He just walks off, and she kind of looks into the sky as the balloon floats away, and then that's the movie. That's the movie,
and then we have a little. This is another little spoiler thing. There's a mid-credits scene because it's a superhero movie. You got to put in some mid-credits scene, and you see a woman. You see a woman from behind. She's walking in blue. She's got dark hair, and she's dressed similarly to Diane on the last scene. And you're obviously supposed to think, oh, well, here's Diane. She's going to do it in another little thing. And a thing starts to fall on a kid, and you see the woman. You're still not seeing her face, and she just stops it. She just catches this pipe or whatever it was.
Seems like a telephone pole or something like that.
Okay. All right. A telephone pole. And then she just stops it and then just keeps on walking, as you do. And then the mother is like, oh, hey, let me go thank this person who just saved my child's life. And then the woman turns around and, oh, lo and behold, it's Linda Carter.
Linda Carter,
Linda Carter, TV's Wonder Woman from the 1970s.
The OG.
The OG Wonder Woman. And she's playing what's her face, the Amazon who went out into society to hold off all the men.
Asteria.
And so she's still out here walking around in the man's world.
Right.
And the mother's like, how did you do that? And Asteria's like, I've been doing it for a long, long time.
Wink.
And yeah. And she like does everything but wink to the camera.
I thought she kind of did wink at the camera a little bit.
She might have. Well, I know Gal Gadot winks at the camera towards the end.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe I'm mixing that up. I don't know. Okay. But
yeah, and that's our movie, guys. Yeah, I mean, it's. I think, like I said before, it is getting this movie. I don't know. It was okay. Like, I mean, like I said before, the dialogue I thought wasn't the strongest. The whole thing where they used the wish stone and based the whole movie around that. I don't know if that was like the best kind of device to build a story around.
Mm-hmm.
Fight scenes were good. I mean, you know, chemistry between Chris Pine and Gal are great.
Yeah, they're great together. They're probably the best part of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kristen Wiig was okay. But as far as
I wasn't too nuts about her. You know, she camped it up a lot in the beginning, as is her wont.
Yeah, I mean, comedy background, that happens.
Yeah. You know, she goes a little over the top. I wish there was a little more subtlety. But I thought she was fine once she was in villainous mode, but nothing to write home about.
Yeah. See, I thought like Pedro Pascal as Max Lord, I thought he was kind of went over the top in a few scenes.
I got kind of tired of him.
Yeah, like I saw online, I think somebody, a friend of the show, Brandon Collins, he sort of compared his performance a lot to Willem Dafoe's character in the first Spider-Man movie. It was very Osborne-esque in some points, where it's just very like very a little too big and just like scenery chewing in a few places a little bit.
Yeah,
I could sort of see that.
I just thought Maxwell Lord was kind of an villain. I didn't find the wishing thing very interesting, and I just, you know, it's like I said earlier. Would you rather see Wonder Woman fight a cat lady, or would you rather see Maxwell Lord granting a lot of wishes?
Very true. It's.
I mean, I just wish I could have sat in on the story meetings for this one.
Yeah, I mean,
so I could have just been like, "Hey, guys, you know, maybe go with the thing that's more interesting."
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can kind of see where they were trying to go with it, because they were kind of leaning heavy on, like, you know, the heart of the story, like the more kind of heartfelt empathy, you know, peace and love wins in the end type of vibe. And I guess we kind of need that in these days and times, because, you know, this year has been horrific. And I'm fine with that, but at the same time, I don't think that should come at the expense of, you know, better dialogue and good writing. And it seems like they kind of put that aside in order to build up the heart and like emotion.
Yeah, this was a disappointment for me. I was looking forward to this movie because I enjoyed the first one. I thought the trailers on this one were fun. So it was not what I was expecting. When I first started seeing people's reactions on social media, on Facebook and on Twitter, I was like, oh, there's a lot of negative reaction to this. I don't think we're in for a good time. And I was not. I mean, it had its moments, but I was rather disappointed. I just thought it was a bad script.
All right, but I mean, do you think it's worth all the vitriol it's getting, or is it just
I don't think it's especially good. I don't think there's much of a reason for it to be set in the 1980s, other than to make some cheap jokes about like, oh, weren't the 80s goofy, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe they said it because of the whole thing with Russia and like our issues with them back in the '80s, and maybe they were trying to mimic how what our issues with them now. I guess maybe they're trying to show the parallels between Russia and other countries and that we had then to now. But yeah,
Yeah,
there really wasn't a need for the '80s as far as.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't get why they went there. I don't. Why not just do another Wonder Woman movie in the modern day?
I don't know. All right. Yeah, I mean, if you,
Because then you can have her operating in public, and you don't have to have her like potentially spoil her cover just to keep the continuity with these previous films that aren't very good in themselves.
yeah, no, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
So I thought that really handicapped the movie for me. The fact that Wonder Woman has to be doing all this stuff, but even though in some scenes she's in front of dozens of people or hundreds of people in the mall scene, and she's supposed to just go like, "Shh, don't tell anybody." And yeah, okay, it's a pre-cell phone age, but yeah, nobody has a camera on them.
Yeah, like don't.
And also if you're trying to keep a low profile, why are you going out in the Wonder Woman costume?
Yeah, like no mask.
Yeah.
Just like the big sparkly, not sparkly, but big shiny outfit, and you hope you don't
wear a raincoat, wear a big hat.
Yeah, something.
I mean,
yes,
it's just if you're trying to keep a low profile, a Wonder Woman costume is perhaps not the best way to go. Is all I'm saying.
Gal Gadot in a shiny outfit. You think no one's gonna look at you?
Yeah, and they intensified the colors of it too. Like they were kind of subdued in the first movie, and here because it's the '80s, they're like practically neon colors.
Yeah, colors do pop.
They do pop. They do pop.
All right, so yeah, that's our thoughts on it. Definitely, not as strong as the first Wonder Woman.
No,
but not the worst DC movie we've seen. I think we'll say that.
Well, no, they've got a lot of competition for the worst DC movie. I'll just say that.
I mean, Suicide Squad. Jesus Christ.
The DC movies have had a tough time of it, and believe me, no one would want to see DC make consistently good movies more than me, because I was always more of a DC kid than a Marvel kid, and I love the Marvel movies. I love what they're doing almost without reservation, and I really wish DC could get it together the way Marvel has, but that is still just not happening.
Right. And actually, as of this recording, it was just announced Wonder Woman 3 is in the works. They're putting it out.
Yeah.
Third time's a charm, maybe?
Well, yeah. I mean, hey, I think the first one's a good movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. This one, thought it was a misfire.
Okay. All right,
what you going to do?
Yeah. All right.
Sophomore slump.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's read some tweets. We put out the word that we're doing this, so
let's read some tweets. Yeah. Let's get some tweets going.
We get from a Decomposition podcast, our good friends Brad and Katie. They said, I really wanted this to be better than it was. Fell apart during the third act. Pedro Pascal did a solid Trump.
Yes, I agree with that. I would just say started to fall apart during the first act for me, but yes.
Fell apart immediately.
I mean, the opening scene was good. I liked the little Amazonian American Gladiators tournament, American Ninja Warrior thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was fun. And apparently the girl playing the young Diana in that, Lily Aspel, it says on IMDb, she performed all the required physical stunt work herself at the age of 12 because it was deemed that she did the job better than her own stunt doubles.
Oh, damn.
So,
wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so way to go, Lily Aspel.
I couldn't have done that at 12.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah, same actress who played the young Diana in the first Wonder Woman movie. She was Diana age 8 in that one and Diana age 12, I guess, in this one.
Fantastic. All right, you go, girl.
Way to go.
Hey. So we also heard from your buddy Scott Hume saying that...
Scott Hume?
He's saying he enjoyed it. I would have liked there to be more of a reason to set it in 1984, other than fanny packs and it being the height of the Cold War. Had it was pitch perfect in the role, as always. I mean, maybe.
I think that's an autocorrect. I think he typed Gadot and it autocorrected to had it.
Right. Yeah. Godot was pitch perfect in the role, as always, and Wigpine and Pascal were all good. Between the credit scene and the Christopher Reeve Superman references / Easter eggs, I will be very curious to learn John's reaction.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what you're referring to on that comment, Scott. I mean, Always happy to see Linda Carter, of course. I feel like her cameo could have been a little more clever, but it was fine. I unfortunately guessed that Linda Carter had a cameo from reading a social media thing beforehand. Everyone, when you think you're being clever about giving away something or alluding to a surprise scene in a movie on social media, you're not being as clever as you think you are.
Yeah, guys.
You're giving it away to anybody with half a brain.
Yeah, this goes for anybody that like loves to give out spoilers like after they watch, like a Marvel movie or The Mandalorian or whatever. Or like, don't. Who's that for? Don't do it. Just like keep it to
If
yourself.
you're like, oh, I'll just hint at it, and then only the people who've seen it will know. No, because the people who are like potentially fans but haven't gotten to immediately watch this thing, they know enough to guess.
Yeah, it's like, who are you doing that for? Are you doing it for like tweets and retweets and likes? Like, are you just trying to make yourself feel like a big man? Like, don't.
Yeah,
You're ruining it for people. Don't be a jerk.
yeah. And I'm not Scott. I'm not quite sure what you mean by the Christopher Reeve Superman references or Easter eggs because I don't think I really spotted any. It says on IMDb trivia that they had the Nuclear Man symbol from Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, in the mall, but I didn't spot that. So
Okay. Right.
I don't know. You'll have to let me know what other Christopher Reeve Superman Easter eggs there were because I don't think I spotted any others.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that. And also,
I was happy to see the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum and the Washington Metro subway.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was a kick for me because that was a nice little nostalgia trip to my childhood.
Okay. And my sister at Bacon Awesome Love, Melanie. Hey, Mel.
Mm-hmm.
She had a lot to say about this.
Yeah.
She said the first 15 minutes bored the heck out of me and dropped Wonder Woman down to a cliche with fighting crime. I'll probably be more critical of this movie because I want someone to get a female action lead right, but it was just meh. Nothing to write home about, but don't throw in the trash. Then she said, also, where was the 80s music? There's a montage of Chris Pine trying on 80s clothes and walking through a mall, and they're playing opera. Like what? Put on some she-bop, MF.
Put on some she-bop, MFers.
Yeah. They said no Duran Duran, no Banana, no Prince, Depeche Mode, not even Phil Collins. Phil Collins, for Pete's sake. Then she goes, last thing, I wish Chris Pine had more to do. I get that he was there for closure for her and love, blah, blah, blah. But he had no purpose outside of her, and that's kind of boring. But he's so cute, so it's fine.
Okay.
And then she texted me some more stuff, too.
All right. All right. She has opinions.
Yeah, she said, and another thing, why didn't they establish Diana and Barbara's relationship? They could have been besties and thus making her transformation and the climax that much more compelling. Or take out the Chitara reveal and save it for another film, but establish the relationship so we can care, like Bucky and Cap.
Yeah. I think that probably would have been better if they'd been friends and Barbara had been more corrupted. They just met and they'd known each other for a few days.
Yeah, but they had that one good lunch together, so they really bonded.
They did. They had a little toast and they clinked glasses. So
I guess that's showing that they're close now. But yeah, I mean, it would have been cool to see that. Maybe she'll come back as an ally to her, like a Bucky and Cap situation, or she'll be like her IT person who's able to look up info on the computer that'll help her fight crime.
She'll be the guy in the chair.
Yeah, exactly.
And someone will walk in on her, and she'll just go, "I'm looking at porn."
Zingaroo! One of the best lines from Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes, I love Ned. Ned is awesome.
Ned,
I missed Etta Candy in this movie.
Mm.
She was really good in the first movie. What's her name from the original UK Office? Blanking on the actress's name.
Yeah, she played Dawn in.
Dawn Kinsley in The Office.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that was. I mean, I guess they showed that she passed away. I think that was her in the photo.
Yeah, I mean, she aged normally. I get why the character wasn't there, but I wish they could have found some excuse because they found a way to get Steve Trevor into it too. Bring Etta Candy in too.
Well, she wanted Steve Trevor back. She didn't necessarily want Etta Candy back.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Harsh.
Harsh. And it would have been nice if we could have gotten some Amazon stuff in there outside of just the opening scene.
Yeah, that's true too. I mean, it's like
I would have liked a little bit more, mythological content in it, because that's one of the things that sets Wonder Woman apart is the connections to Greek mythology.
yeah, no, it's very
And
true. Yeah,
and yeah, this didn't have too much of that.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Just overall, I think the script could have used like a rewrite.
Several rewrites.
Ooh, damn. Ooh, meow.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, that's our thoughts on Wonder Woman 84, final episode of 2020 for you guys, and yeah, that's
And how on brand is it that it was a disappointing movie to round out 2020?
that's right. This year, this year's been the big disappointments, and we end on a pretty big disappointment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all we got, folks. Thanks again for listening, as always. You can follow me on Twitter at DarrenCredible, DARI Incredible.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Trumbull Comic, TRUMBULL, and the word comic. And you can also follow the show page at SNL Nerds Show. We're on Twitter, and we're also on Instagram as well, and our little individual profiles.
Indubitably.
And if you like the show, please tell a friend about it. Please review us on your podcast format of choice. We're always looking at the Apple Podcast and seeing what people have said about us, and people haven't said anything about us in a little while.
Yeah.
So we want to get the word out.
Give a review, for God's sake, people.
Give us a review, please, pretty please, with sugar on top.
It takes a matter of minutes.
It does.
For just a few minutes a day, you can make two podcasters happy.
That's right. That's right. And we're just going to pipe up the Sarah McLachlan music now,
Yeah.
In the arms of an angel.
Aww, that's sweet.
So,
And so this is our final episode of 2020. Guys, it's what a year it's been. We'll say.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we have I don't know how to close this out. I guess.
Yeah, we talked a little about what we're doing next week. We haven't quite figured it out. We might throw up a poll on Twitter. We might decide on our own. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. If you have a suggestion, though, hit us up on Twitter at SNL Nerd Show. Let us know, hey, guys, you should do this thing. And hopefully it should be a thing that we haven't done before.
Absolutely. The future is uncertain as the new year.
Exactly.
So we'll probably put out a few new episodes before the new season of SNL starts. I actually saw on Instagram, AD Bryant put out that she's wrapped on Shrill. So there's a very good chance we're going to get AD Bryant back in January. So all right. That's a big old hooray. So yeah. So I mean, we're not sure what's going to happen, but we just wish everybody a happy and healthy New Year. And I don't know, guys. We're
I think this movie broke Darren.
A little bit. But yeah, no. We wish everybody happy, healthy New Year. Everybody happy holidays. We'll be with you in the next year, and hopefully it'll be better than this dumpster fire of the year we've had. It can only get better, right? Right, people.
As the noted 1980s philosopher Howard Jones said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! Things can only get better."
Keeping it with that 80s theme.
That's right. I'm staying on brand.
Yeah. All right.
So we'll see you next week with another thing. But until then, nerds out. Yay. Ooh. Is Frank still weaving our sign-offs together? Or no?
I don't listen to this podcast.
Does he not bother? Yeah.
I don't care for one of the hosts.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Dude,
1.5 of the hosts, honestly.
Ooh.
If I'm keeping it 100, but
keep it at 100.
Keep it at 100.
Diggity.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.